we've been working together for a really long time, the core group of connecting families. That has now expanded, 17 in that bio. Since then, we've one person has left, so it's 16.
Mm.
Um, and they are people that I have come across in my career, where we've gelled, and I've known that they approach the work the same way that I do. Others, and yeah, so we've got a large team now with 3 men, and we did have 3 Aboriginal practitioners. We now only have 2. And I think the reason why we've been so successful in the work is because we are a collective voice.
Mm.
When I stop to think about it, um, there's, it's hard work. You know this, Colby. It's really hard work, and often we are butting heads with the statutory agency. We are butting heads with the court. We're butting heads with everybody because we might approach it differently and have a different view. And I think with us having so many people in the team, and we all approach the work in the same way and think about families, and that the children ought to be with their families if that's at all possible, and if not, with
Mm.
very close enduring connection to family. That having many of us speaking that, I don't know what it is, but it just brings about a sense of safety in the
Yeah.
team to be able to do that, and um, and a sense that we've got each other's backs, we
Mm.
can support each other, and to continue to do the work.
Mm.
So I think, I despair at competitive, I don't know what happens in other parts of the world, but competitive tendering processes where agencies win a tender to provide a service for 3 years, and then they put it out again, and then someone else might win it. So no one develops long-term practice wisdom,
Mm.
long-term, and that you have people that are really passionate about this work. It's not just a job. It's not,
Mm.
it's actually a career. So I think that's what I've been able to gather together. And when I think about 21 years now almost that we've been going as connecting families, that's a long time for one service. And I don't see it ending anytime soon.
Mm.
And so that collective wisdom just grows and grows and grows. And I think that's why we are successful, because the values and the attitudes and the beliefs, but also the skill set that people develop over time
Mm.
and then can pass on to each other
Yeah.
is immeasurable. I don't know how you measure that. Um,
Mm.
I don't know how you replicate it. Um, and I feel really lucky to
Mm.
have this group of people around me. Um, so
I think what
I think that's why.
I think, yeah, yeah, thank you for that. I think what I'm hearing you say is the importance of a team that is aligned in their approach to practice, um, and speaks with a consistent voice. And I think that there is something very psychologically safe about teams where people are all on the same page and aligned in their practice. Um, I think, in some respects, um, we celebrate diversity, but also I think we need to acknowledge that teams work um, well in this kind of way of being aligned and supportive of each other, um, and speaking with a collective voice. I think the
Mm.
collective voice provides um, is authoritative in the work that we do. And I think you mentioned, go back to one of your responses about the Churchill Fellowship. Um, we think about, we've talked a little bit about in our backwards and forwards conversation here about things that are really powerful in factors in human behaviour and the way in which people approach life and relationships. We've talked a bit about the role and importance of shame, but also of validation. The experience that that we're not just the only one
Yeah.
thinking and working in this way. That our thoughts and beliefs and approach are valid, are acceptable, are worthy. These are very powerful conditions, I think, in which to, in our shared areas of endeavour, approach the work with as much psychological safety as we can muster to protect ourselves, because it is a difficult area of endeavour. And when you work in it over a long period of time, I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can do it without depleting yourself drastically if you don't have a team and peers who, as you say, have got your back, but who also believe in what you believe in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also it can challenge you, because, I often think about, the work of Eileen Munro and, her talking about, the sort of, I can't remember the actual quote, but the most protective thing is to admit that you might have got it wrong.
Mm.
And I think, in child protection work, and I think that having a team around where we can talk about, you can get different perspectives on things. You can
Mm.
be going, am I missing something here? I think
Mm.
that having a collective voice is not just about being, gee, we're all right and that's not what I mean. And it's really more
Mm.
around saying, um, where we want to come at things with rigor. We want to make sure we're doing things properly and right
Mm.
and thoroughly. And I think when you're on your own, you can lose that objectivity. You basically, um, it's healthy to have
Yes.
other people around to sort of go, yeah, I'm not quite sure about that. So we do a lot of co-working in this as well. A lot of the team, will work with two practitioners. Sometimes we might have a family where they might end up with five of the team because someone's doing Mata Mayo, someone's doing circle of security. Tracy might be doing a relapse prevention plan around substance misuse. So they're seen by a lot of people in the team, and we don't always agree about where the families are on their and the progress that they're making. And I think that's really healthy.
It is. I agree, and I guess most people who talk about teams, I would anticipate, talk about the importance of having diversity of background and diversity of uh, um, uh, beliefs and opinions, and and yet I would say that those things are fantastic where there is a secure base
Yeah,
within the team, and the secure base is one that regulates shame or is non-shaming. The secure base is one where we feel of togetherness and connection and belonging.
yeah.
And in another podcast, shout out to Lynn Payton and her Success is Never Accidental podcast, I talked about how teams are functional teams are very much like an attachment
Mm.
relationship. And I think in order to explore other ideas, to take risks, carefully managed risks, to make mistakes, own up to them, learn from them, move on from them. You need this security that we're talking about, the psychological safety that we're
Yeah,
talking about. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think um, the preparedness to be vulnerable and know that you can be vulnerable in that space and people will just hold you really in that. And for me, it's very much a parallel process about what we're trying to do with families
yeah.
is to support them to be vulnerable, um, but to feel that there's safety in doing that. So
And
um,
that's very much aligned with what an attachment relationship is,
yeah.
and looks like what we're talking about with attachment. Attachment is about a relationship in which the person can be vulnerable and or is vulnerable and can orient to someone who is able to support them, protect them, respond to their needs, and create a situation and a circumstance where the person can grow.
Mm.